Ah, there you
I
are.
am
Good.
speaking from yeah, I am
Okay.
speaking from Brussels, from the capital of Europe,
Yes. I
and
suppose so. Okay, I will turn myself off so we can listen to you. Martin, it's your
yeah,
show. Thank you.
thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this global symposium. Last year, I could be physically in Macau and to give a talk on the Jesuit martyrs of El Salvador. And one of these martyrs is Ignacio Ellacuria, whom I will present today with his concept of a new global civilization model. I can connect with my previous speakers. What I will present briefly is a narrative of hope. I even would say a vision of hope. I will speak about higher purposes of business from a more theological and philosophical perspective. And I will apply the principles of Catholic social teaching, which have been touched already by Mike Thompson: social justice, solidarity, subsidiarity, sustainability, and the option for the poor. Just to contextualize my presentation, the COVID-19 pandemic makes evident that we have a global crisis, and that the global natural commons like the atmosphere are overused, and social global commons like healthcare are underprovided. It makes us aware that health is the most precious universal common good and that it is globally vulnerable. It makes us aware that we are all in the same boat, as Pope Francis put it recently, and that we are one human family. The virus doesn't know or respect borders. That has been said by Bruno Frey. To stop the pandemic, the countries must look and cooperate beyond their borders. We feel more and more interdependent from each other. We are all vulnerable. We are all connected globally for the best and the worst. And we should give up our collective short-termism and understand solidarity as an intra-generational and intergenerational challenge. The corona crisis makes us aware that we have to rethink and to reshape our present model of globalization, taking into account the poor, the natural environment, and the future generations. Pope Francis, with his encyclical Laudato Si on the care for our common home, and with his very recent new encyclical Fratelli Tutti on fraternity and social friendship, offers a compass and a roadmap for this. The central message of Laudato Si is that dangerous climate change and the unscrupulous exploitation of natural resources continue to threaten the future of our planet, and the issue of ecology is an issue of justice. The Pope questions our present economic system, which he associates with a throwaway culture that is incompatible with the stewardship of creation. Laudato Si is a dramatic and a joyful, a hopeful document. Dramatic because it faces the global crisis of today's world, which is both ecological and social. Joyful because it offers ways and hopes to tackle the crisis. Another innovation of Laudato Si is to consider the atmosphere, the oceans, and the tropical forests as natural global common goods. And in the present crisis, we can add health as the principal social common good. The global common goods cannot be solely under the rule only of national states, but they belong to all humanity. So the principle of the universal destination of goods must be applied. We have a common but differentiated responsibility for these common goods, and to discharge that responsibility, we need democratic governments of them. Again, I join main thoughts of Bruno Frey. There is an urgent need of a thorough and rapid transformation of the production and consumption system. The market alone will not solve the problems. We have to change the old trends, and changing trends depends on changing minds. We need a new mindset, a new model of civilization. And inspired by Ignacio Ellacuria and Pope Francis, I plead for a civilization of shared frugality. That means, on the one hand, that resources and wealth must be divided, shared more equitably, and on the other hand, that this will inevitably require restrictions in the lifestyle of the people in rich countries. Decisive criteria of this civilization of shared frugality have to be universality, justice, and sustainability. Concerning universality, it is obvious that the economies of the rich nations of the North are not universalizable because of reasons of having to do with the environment and because of limits of natural resources, the planetary boundaries. Whatever is not universalizable cannot be defended ethically either, according to Immanuel Kant's categorical imperative. On a global scale, justice means that all human beings have the same right to natural resources and to energy, and that ecological consequences are distributed equitably, or at least in a more or less similar way. And sustainability means administering resources in such a way that the foundations of action are not destroyed and that the rights and interests of future generations are borne in mind. The implementation of such a civilization of shared frugality is, of course, a gigantic challenge. For it, a new social contract between business, science, and politics is needed. The interlocking of the problems requires interdisciplinary efforts. Here also, the religious communities with their motivation and action potential are in great demand. Justice and preservation of creation are also questions of faith. And again, I come back to Pope Francis' two last encyclicals. He proposes a new model of global living together. He insists on justice, on solidarity, on the rights also of future generations to have a decent planet. And I think that he is actually maybe the only global leader who is listened and who has also the moral authority, on the one hand, to criticize the present model, and on the other hand, to make proposals, to offer a vision, and to motivate for change and for transformation, for what he calls ecological conversion. I think my time is over, so I stop here. Thank you very much for listening to my not perfect English.
Oh my goodness, it's quite good. Don't worry about that.